Hey, everybody, it's Lauren Lee with EXP and the Lauren Lee Group. I have a fabulous guest today. I have Mitch Ribek, who is an agent from Cocoa Beach, Florida. How you doing today, Mitch?
I am wicked awesome. How you doing?
I'm fabulous. Hey, when I found out about your story, I just knew I had to interview you because it's quite an amazing story. You were a broker owner of an independent brokerage in Florida.
Yep.
And then you decided to leave your independence and actually join EXP Realty.
Yeah, because if you're an independent broker, you're not really independent.
Ah,
anybody, anybody's an independent broker knows what I'm talking about.
got it. Got it.
Yeah,
Looking at,
it was a big move back then. We had I think the whole state of Florida only had 50 agents when we moved over, so it was a pretty scary thing. Uh, we moved over 40, and at the time we were a big deal. We were the biggest thing in the country as far as brokerages moving over. So I didn't have anybody like myself to talk to. Now I'd say about half my day every day is talking to other brokers around the country for other people on what my transition looked like. So it's been interesting.
yeah, absolutely. So you've been with EXP how many years now? Was it almost 4 years?
Four and a half, June of 2017.
Okay. And you've been just growing like gangbusters. But what was it like in those early stages, where you're completely at a new brokerage, new rules, and why did you really decide to make the shift? Pretty
Yeah. So
phenomenal.
let's start with that because that's kind of the real story behind it is the progress, how it happened, right? The procession of how it happened. So I owned a brokerage. I turned 55. I had 120 agents at the time, and just I do this thing every like 2 or 3 times a week. I look in the mirror and I have a conversation with myself because you can't lie to yourself when you're rationalizing to yourself. It's you got to tell the truth because you're lying. And I was just really looking at my life, and my dad died at 58. My mother died at 59. And I said, what happens if something happens to me right now? I was worried about my agents because I love my agents, their family. Obviously worried about my family. I got a couple of grandkids, actually 3. I just had a new grandkid 10 days ago. Very exciting.
Congratulations. That's awesome.
And we don't even need our kids anymore. We got our kids. We got our grandkids. I told the kids to get lost, but they're still here. But I looked at myself. I said, so what happens if I die? I had to have that serious conversation because my family dies in the 50s mostly. And the reality is my family gets nothing. All my agents will get recruited away. See you later. And they get nothing. So I went to sell the company. And, I'm an entrepreneur. I've had 23 companies now in 40, oh my God, 42 years. This is ridiculous. But, I went to sell the company, got an offer from Remax, got an offer from Century 21, 3.5 million for both of them. Decided to work with Century 21 and got down to the final negotiations when they explained to me how you get paid. You get a little money the first year, a little money the second year. Third year is the majority of your payout based on the retention of the original agents. And I'm like, wait a minute. So let me get this straight. So if you guys aren't good at what you do and half my agents leave, my 3.5 goes to 1.75. They said, yes. I said, no. There was no way I was going to leave my financial future in the hands of people I didn't know.
Mm-hmm.
So I immediately let go 50 agents. I went from 120 down to 65. Basically, all the agents I knew would never be successful. It cost me a lot of money to keep because trainers and compliance people, all these people I needed, marketing people for them. And called Jason Gessing, the CEO of EXP, and said, "Are you going to be up in Inman?" And that was in November of 2016. I said, "You're going to be up in Inman in New York in January." He said, "Yeah." I go, "Can we meet?" Now I later found out he didn't want to meet me because we'd already met 3 times before, and I said no each time. So he's like, he didn't want to really waste his time with me. I love the man dearly now, but so I went up there and I said, my biggest issue is, Tropical Realty is a big brand here. We do, 700 transactions a year, blah, 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 blah. And he says, well, just keep your brand. I'm like, what do you mean? He goes, just be Tropical Realty, beachside brokered by EXP. And I really kind of like sat there for a minute because I wish he had told me that 2 years earlier because I probably would have joined. That was the only thing holding me back was my brand that I spent so many years developing. So anyways, came back. We had a conversation with my agents, and 34 of my agents. My 34 agents did 92% of the business, typical of most brokerages.
Yep.
And had a conversation with my wife and my general manager, Pat. And my wife and I went back and forth, and she didn't really get it at first. She's like, what do you mean you're going to give away the company we just got off at $3.5 million? I go, that's a catch to that. So anyways, we came down with, what do we have to lose? The worst case scenario is we just turn the broker back on. I can always turn Tropical Realty back on.
It's
So
very
so we met with the agents. That's what we came up with. I said, look, if we don't like this, guys, we'll just go back to being tropical. But I think this is a better opportunity for you guys and a better opportunity for my family, hopefully. And thank God it did exactly what we thought it would do. We're about 1,650 agents now, 45 states, 7 countries, totally blessed. Literally could never have done that. With a brokerage, you're stuck in a little tiny island, right? With EXP, merging my brokerage within a brokerage is what I call what I've done, is I'm not limited to anything. I can expand anywhere I want. If I want to open up other teams around different places, I could. I don't feel like that at almost 61 years old. But if I wanted to, that was my original plan, because my entrepreneur side said, oh, we'll do this and we'll do that. And then I realized I was old. I'm like, I think we'll just kind of retire. But we were able to stop selling houses completely now. I went down from 80 to 100 hours a week down to 40 hours a week, playing a rock band with my grandkids, baseball 3 nights a week with my grandson. As I tell people, I'm doing everything I thought I was going to do as a broker, I'm doing now. I mean, I started a brokerage for leverage and freedom, and what I found was prison. I literally was 15 to 20 calls 7 days a week, even with staff, and I had a lot of staff. It was still everybody wanted to talk to me, and there was just no way around that. Now I get about 5 phone calls a week from agents having questions. I started the Rockstar Real Estate Series locally. We do events every 2 months. Totally living by contribution, which is what I love, and attracting agents. So that's my story.
That's amazing. Tell me about, some of the collaboration. It sounds like, owning your own brokerage, that's kind of what, you wanted to do too, is have your family of agents and really pour into, the agents that you had working with you. But what's the collaboration like at EXP now that you're all over the place?
Yeah. So again, nothing is micro anymore. I have access to people in 19 countries, including the United States. I have friends in California, part of my organization, Pete Middleton, one of the top luxury guys in the country. If I wanted to do luxury sales right now, I'd just reach out to Pete. One of my agents just did, and Pete spent a half hour on the phone with him explaining him what to do. You have access. I love the word access, because you have access to a lot more people. And by the way, as a broker, nobody wants to share, right?
Yes.
As an EXP agent, since we all own the company, we all collaborate, we all help each other. And I'll give you an example of that. I'm known as the godfather of internet lead conversion, which is really goofy, but it's true. I started 20 years ago, I started all the lead conversion stuff you see today is stuff that I built, and almost everything based on those theories. And so for you to hire me, or a team out there to hire me to do a meet with their agents or their brokerage, is $2,500 an hour plus expenses. Or if it's just a Zoom call, $2,500 an hour. I don't charge EXP teams a penny.
We are so blessed.
Yeah, and it's not because of anything special. It's because we all own the company, we all share, and it's such an amazing dynamic that I never expected. It wasn't when I joined. That was not even on the radar for me. I wasn't even thinking about that. I remember saying to myself, well, if in 4 years I could get to 1,000 agents, that'd be pretty cool. Well, I did it in 3.5 years, and I'll be by the end of 2022, I'll be around 3,000 agents. And but it's freedom. My wife and I took the month of September off. I've never taken a month off before. We drove around the country. It was really fun. We're living a good life again. It's the life I thought I was going to live by becoming a broker. I live now. It's very cool.
I think what's amazing too is, when I joined about 4 years ago as well, there were like 7,000 agents in the US.
Right.
And I thought the same thing. I'm like, okay, I'm an individual agent. I maybe give this a try. It's not really popular in my area, but that business model made so much sense to me that I couldn't sleep at night. Like it's kind of like once you see it, you can't unsee it. That wonderful saying, because I kind of felt that way. And I thought there's just nothing to lose. So what I find fascinating about your story is it works for the individual agent, and it can actually really provide freedom to a brokerage.
Yeah, it's huge. And I talked to probably, because I talked to a lot of people around the country. For a broker wants to talk to a broker, they all reach out to me, which I love. I love helping. And I would say the majority of them get it right away. Mm-hmm. A lot of them can't do it right away because they've got themselves so dug in with expenses. Yeah. And it's very, very challenging. And a lot of people just don't have an open mind. Like I talked to a broker recently, did their numbers through November 1. And I said, "How you doing?" She go, "Oh, we're killing it. I'm making a fortune. Best year I've ever had." I go, "That's how you're doing. How's your company doing?" Also, my company's doing great. Best year we ever had. So I broke out all of her numbers, excuse me, except for her, and she had lost $7,500 from her agents.
Mm.
So, but the challenge with I say it was for me. Most brokers have egos, and egos block them from being open. And once you're not open to things, when you're not open, you just miss opportunity. And I'm so glad, even though I was 2 years later than I should have been, that I joined when I joined. And some people saying, "Well, is it too late?" I go, "No. We're going to have 500,000 agents in the next 5 years. There's not a question in my mind. We have so many people joining right now. I think we hit 70,000 this week, or about to hit 70,000 this week.
Mm-hmm.
And if you think about that, KW has 200,000, right? So we still, if nothing else, we're going to probably triple. If nothing else, if we don't hit our 500,000 goal, we're definitely going to at least triple, and that's huge.
It's huge.
Huge.
Quick question then about, does the size of the brokerage matter? So you were a really pretty great size brokerage, starting out at that 120,
Right.
gradually, it did come down. But, say a smaller brokerage is watching this video, what are the benefits to a smaller, medium size, and a large brokerage on coming over?
Yeah. So for brokerage, there's a lot of benefits. One, the best part is no liability.
Mm-hmm.
We had a transaction from hell. We just finally had to close yesterday. Actually, it was really in my 20 years, it was the worst transaction I've ever seen. As soon as it got bad, I said, I have to hand it over to the broker now. Bye. So I don't deal with that anymore. I don't get yelled at anymore by customers. I don't have agents coming to me complaining because they want a higher split or whatever. It's not my issue anymore. And by the way, nobody goes to EXP for more money because we pay really, really well, right? So from a small brokerage, so here's the thing with small brokerages, and again, a lot of people won't admit this, but say you're a 10-agent brokerage. You're really a 3-agent brokerage plus yourself. Because the standard is 30% of the agents produce. Okay. Most of the brokers that I know that brokers of 10, 12, 15 agent brokerages work for about 6 months out of the year selling houses full time because they have to pay the bills. So they really would take a second and break out how much money they're actually making from their few productive agents. It comes down to nothing. The other thing when you're a small broker, you're tied. That's all you got. You're like so I said before, I was like an island. A 10-agent broker is like a little pebble in the ocean, right? There's nothing for them. Nobody's going to help them. They're on their own. And the reality is we can, with 3XP, we can show you how to grow your team instead of your brokerage or brokerage within a brokerage and be a heck of a lot more profitable because you don't need to do most of the stuff. You don't need to deal with checks anymore. You don't need to deal with training because we do so much training. There's just so many more opportunities for a broker, any size, large or small, to switch over. The biggest thing is how much trouble they've gotten themselves into with regards to debt and overhead. I mean, I had $65,000 a month in overhead when we switched over. It was really scary because obviously I was giving up my commissions. I was able to get that down to about $35,000 in 90 days. And today, not counting my salary and Pat's salary because it's inflated for rev share, we're about $15,000 a month. And that's including our travel budget of $5,000 a month.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, that's just amazing. I tell you, I think that just, getting the word out there, we're all chatting with agents that we talk to on a regular basis, and they're watching our businesses grow here at EXP. But, brokerages may need to just take note that there's a huge opportunity. Like you said, they might be closed-minded and thinking, why would I join a company? Why would I join a national brokerage?
Right.
And your story really exemplifies a lot of benefits.
Well, it really comes down to honesty within themselves. And by the way, right now, there are some companies making a decent living right now, but that will change. The market is going to shift. Anybody who's been in business long enough knows this is going to shift, which is, this is not a question about that. It's just a matter of when, right? And if you look at what's going on with the economy right now, there's some major things that are going to happen at some point shortly, like maybe tomorrow. And there's I think there was a little over 300 brokerages that switched to EXP this year, 2021. So there's a lot of people get it.
Now, what was the largest one? Do you know? I heard that there was a really one with over 500 agents. Are you familiar with that one?
I'm not familiar with that one. There's Chuck Fazio moved over His broker, I don't know how many moved over with him, but he had a brokerage of 900. That was the biggest ever.
Wow.
I know there's some brokers right now with bigger numbers like 14, 15, 16, 1,700 agents talking about joining. I mean, I'm in talk right now with a 95 agent brokerage, a 450 agent brokerage. I mean,
wow.
it makes more sense. I mean, from a broker standpoint, at some point you're going to decide you want to have a life. And what you're currently doing isn't giving you a life most of the time as a broker. And you don't make any money. I mean, as a broker with 120 agents, 700 transactions, my best year was 200 grand.
You think that's really kind of hard to believe, when why would anyone want to do it if that's all they're making? Like, it kind of confuses me.
Well, you get sucked into the trap, right? That's what we're taught. You go to real estate school, you become a realtor, then you build a team, then you start a brokerage, then you die.
Sounds like a great outcome for me.
And honestly, like, I have so many friends of mine that have owned brokerages that have switched over or own brokerages right now, and just, they're doing okay right now because the market's been crazy, right? But again, when the market's crazy, what do realtors want? They want more money. They want more tools. So your overhead goes up. I mean, I didn't start out with $100,000 a month overhead when I started, but that's what I ended up with before we made the switch to EXP. Before I cut everything down, when I let those 50 agents go, I was $100,000 a month. I started my year between January and February. I lost $80,000 every year. So every year I'd start my year negative 80,000.
So, I mean, is this common? Like, you having done this for years and years, are you kind of inferring that at a lot of brokerages, they're just really not that profitable when they sit down and analyze the numbers?
Yeah, very, very much so. So I went to see a brokerage up in the Northeast for a friend of mine, asked me to go up there, big 350 agent brokerage. So I flew up and met up with the people. 350 agents. I don't remember the number of transactions, netted $104,000 in 2019. $104,000, 350 agents.
Wow.
So because you have to, I mean, I alone, I had 3 offices and $18,000 a month just in leases. Then I had computers and electricity and water and blah, blah, all the crap you have, taxes, insurance, all that stuff that I had to have for that. And we have literally with 120 agents, we'd have 2 come in a day, maybe. Right now we have 500 agents locally, a little more than that. And I pay for conference rooms if anybody needs them. I'm in a executive suite. Now 2 offices in an executive suite. We pay $20 an hour for conference rooms. My bill last quarter was $20.
Oh, wow. You've had a real reduction in fixed costs, haven't you?
Yeah, like I said, including my travel budget, it's like 15 grand a month.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Well, talk to me a little bit about, your other streams of revenue, because, before you were making money on your agents, on the small amount of performing agents, but it sounds like how your organization has grown, you're taking advantage of that agent attraction plan.
Yeah. I mean, that's pretty much all I do now. I had a lead system up until, a few months ago, and I sold it, but so I've always done leads for my agents. That was a nice revenue source when we made the switch. That helped. We charge 30-40% for leads to my agents. But honestly, it's 1,650 agents with our overhead as low as it is. We're on track to make about 3 times more than I've ever made as a broker. And the beauty is it's growing 5% a month right now if I do nothing. Unfortunately, I can't do nothing because I'm a workaholic.
Wow.
But I know I workaholic within my 40-hour week, so I don't workaholic anymore as much as I used to.
Well, you've got that extra time to really fill your life with those satisfying things like those grandkids and just the relaxing time with family. You're buying some freedom there, aren't you? So
that's what it is, and that's what when I talk to my broker friends, I said this is all about freedom.
Isn't it?
Because you are not going to be free. And somebody said to me, I forget who said it to me, but I don't know, it's Gene Frederick or somebody said to me, because how many realtor retirement parties have you been to?
Yeah, exactly.
And I've been to 2 of their funerals, right? I mean, there's a reason why you see 80-year-old women and guys wandering around still selling houses. Most people don't know enough to plan, including myself, by the way. I mean, when I was only making a couple $100 grand a year I was making more than that because I had other businesses going. But I never really saved a lot. Because, my wife actually just sent me a video of her shoe collection. She's like, why? It's literally happened like right before I got on this call. She's like, why do I have so many shoes? I mean, she's 4'9", size 6, and she probably has 150 pairs of shoes in the closet. And every time we do something, we had our Christmas party yesterday, And she I go the day before, I'm like, "Well, yeah." She goes, I'm at Macy's shopping. I'm like, "What do you get?" She goes, "Well, I need an outfit for the party." I go, "We just had 3 parties the past month. You bought an outfit for each of those parties." She goes, "Yeah, I don't like them anymore." So I have to be able to afford all that stuff. So I had to work really hard to get there.
I see.
But so that's the toughest part of my life right now. So how good is that, right?
I think it's pretty good.
It's
Very, very low on the things to worry about list.
No, my stress level is literally I have no stress, like
That's
at
cool.
all. I mean, really, I don't. Like, I was thinking about that this morning. I walk 3 to 4 miles every morning, and I was on my walk this morning, just thinking about my day today. I had about 3 of these calls, and I had to go to a luncheon, and I'm like, this is my life. It's like, how freaking awesome.
You're an inspiration, I think, to all agents out there that, there really is a plan and a model that can get them to where they really want to go. And I
There is.
think that's why the first day I really learned about EXP, I got so excited I couldn't sleep because I could see that it actually just made sense to me.
Yeah.
And if I followed the plan and executed with the programs and the systems that they have, then, this could be my future.
Yeah.
And I think that you're living that dream. And not only are you living it, but you're really sharing it. You're sharing your story and you're letting other people know that it can be the same for them.
Yeah, anybody can do it. And, I have agents, and everybody's different, right? I mean, I'm an entrepreneur, so I really grabbed a hold of the revenue share part of our business model. And it's been, amazing for me. But I have friends of mine that are making an extra 10 grand a month.
That's nice.
Introducing people think 10 grand a month. Here's the beauty about this. So here's the numbers, right? If you introduce 2 people a year to the company over the next 3 years, and they all introduce one, that's up to $36,000 a year in referral fees, right? So an extra $3,000 a month for almost everybody that I know changes their lives.
Totally. Absolutely.
And if you want to sell houses, one of the things I've learned, like I haven't had to sell houses to pay my bills, but I always sell 30 homes a year. We retired now 3 months ago from doing that. No more homes, never again. If you see me sell a home, cut my head off. But the beauty of the reason why I still get that, I have not looked for business since 2005.
Wow.
But the reason why that happens is because I don't need the money.
Mm-hmm.
So if you have an extra few $1,000s a month coming in, your mortgage is paying stuff, you're not stressed. When you're not stressed, you're not pushing for that sale. And your customer feels that. Your customer feels when you need to make a paycheck. And so you don't have to make a paycheck to survive. You sell way more homes.
You're a happier person. Everybody, you can just give back peacefully, and you don't have that anxiety with just your daily job.
No, there is no daily job anymore. It's giving. We do our Rockstar Real Estate series. Yesterday we had 60 people there. That's what we do now. We just do every 2 months. We do an event, just non-branded. We don't push EXP at all. In fact, I had a panelist on. He didn't want to do it, and I got him to do it. And he said to me after, he goes, "I thought all you're going to do is like try to recruit me to EXP. That's why you're doing it." He goes, "You didn't even mention EXP once." I go, "It's not about EXP. It's about helping people. When you help people, if they want to join, they all know I work for EXP. I don't need to go push that. Yeah. Just come join me. I'm here to help."
I mean, I really find that too. It's really changed my life, maybe not on such a dramatic level as yourself, but, it has changed my life, and it's changed the trajectory of my life. And what I want to do is, by sharing this, give that change to other people. And when you really feel it, like in real life, for real, and you feel that, you do kind of want to share and feel morally obligated to just let someone know there's really an opportunity that can change your life. It's not that complicated. And thousands of people are taking this on every day.
Yep. Yeah. And the thing is, even it's going back down to the stock, right? Which we haven't really talked about, but I mean, it changed my family's life. We were in at $2.75 a share, and you were probably right around the same price, right?
We did very well as well.
Yeah. But think about that. We say that like kind of chuckling a little bit, but the reality, it changed your life, right?
It has. I mean, literally, it has. I was almost embarrassed because, like, oh my gosh, back 4 years ago, it wasn't. It was lower,
Oh, yeah. It was, and so I'll give you a quick story on that. One of my agents who makes 100 grand a year selling houses every year, does not save a penny. He spends 120 grand a year, right? The people. We all know people like that. I've been like that. And I talked to him the other day. He was an icon 3 years ago, and that stock now is worth $340,000.
Oh, isn't it beautiful?
Yes. Another agent I was with last night at our Christmas party, she cashed out $80,000 in stock so she could redo her house.
Yep.
And she was
I know,
teary-eyed telling me it's great.
I know people who've done the same thing and purchased rental properties.
Yep.
They've just decided, I'm going to buy this cash, I'm going to fix it up, and I'm going to make a profit on it. And it just came from, being part of the organization. It's the piece that gives back.
Yeah.
You just achieve some basic production levels, and they're just popping several $100s worth of stock into your ShareWorks account.
And then if you become an icon agent, I talked to I guess I shouldn't say Remax, but a Remax agent. I don't care. Sue me. Remax agent the other day who said, well, I don't know that I could do it because, Remax is my brand. And I respect that. I go, but you understand you're successful because you're successful. I don't care what company you're with. If you're successful in real estate, you're successful. It doesn't matter. I go, but let me ask you a question. The end of 5 years, tell me what you have from Remax. And he just kind of looked at me, he goes, he didn't really understand. And I said, well, I'll tell you, you have 5 plaques that I think you got to pay for, actually, but you have 5 plaques, right? At the end of 5 years, based on his production, because I did the numbers for him, he would have had $135,000 in stock.
Yeah. Well, and like you were saying, what do you have at the end of your life, at the end of the career?
Yeah.
The thought of being so transactionally based and not having anything to show for it, was kind of one of those motivating factors for me. I didn't want to keep doing this forever.
Yeah. Yeah. And the cool thing, which we haven't even touched on, is the willability, the ability to will your stuff. So, again, we have a lot of people who are doing really well financially. I remember I said at the beginning of my brokerage, if I died, I lost everything.
Yes.
Right. If I died today, my wife just got a license. In fact, she had her first closing last week. She actually wants me to do open houses. I'm like, hell no, not happening. Like, if you want a mentor, I'll get you a mentor. I'm not doing it. She's not gonna sell houses. I gave her one, so she qualified. But if I die, she just pops into my spot.
Yeah.
Our revenue now, my family is taken care of for generations because my daughter's licensed now. My granddaughter is 15. When she turns 18, she will be licensed.
Absolutely.
When my 12-year-old becomes 18, he'll be licensed. So we're creating generational wealth. All 3 of my boys are also getting licensed. So we're creating for my entire family. This is not about me and my wife right now. It's about my entire generation and generation and generation of family that we know are going to be taken care of. That's such a secure feeling that I never had as a broker, ever.
I mean, what company actually provides something like that? Like, not even just in real estate. No. To be able to give generations down the line. I mean, I have 4 adult children and I have 7 grandchildren.
Wow.
So it is definitely a big deal when that you've got resources that are going to keep giving to the people that you love.
Yep. Yeah. It's hard to explain. I talk to people all the time, but it's really hard to explain without getting kind of giddy about what we've experienced, thanks to Glenn Sanford and Jason Gessing, who worked their butts off for all these years. And but the reality is here's what I'll tell anybody that's watching this right now: don't say no to something you don't know what you're saying no to. At least learn. At least get an idea. Watch one of the videos. There's several videos out there. Watch something. Reach out to Lauren and get more information on this, because you're just spinning your wheels in the rat race that never ends. And it never ends. And so at least be open to it. If you do your homework and you say no, awesome.
That's awesome. I'd like to thank you, Mitch. And for anyone out there listening, you can go to laurenleegroup.com and set up an appointment in my calendar. I would love to share the value of this company with you. And as Mitch has just exemplified, life-changing freedom, time with family. It's just immeasurable blessings for people who have been able to take advantage of this business model. It's Absolutely amazing. Well, thank you so much, Mitch. I hope you're enjoying the sunny weather there in Cocoa Beach.
Yep. Might be golfing as soon as we hang up, actually.
Well, I did say I enjoyed the snow, the little sprinkles of snow. I'm from the north, so the snow is okay for me. Yeah. But
I'm from Boston. I had enough snow for 38 years. I'm from Boston. I don't need any more snow. I had plenty. I had my share.
Well, you can come visit if you ever want to. If you ever feel the need to get some more.
Yeah, right. I don't think it'll happen.
Okay. Well, I guess I'll come down and see Florida.
Always here.
All right. Thank you, Mitch, so much. Again, everybody, thank you for joining us in our video series, and we will talk to you soon. Take care.
Please. Take care.
Bye.